All right, you should be able to hear me now. What's good, Sabrick? What's good? There we go. What's poppin'? What's poppin', Big Mar? How you doing, big dog? What's good, John? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. What's good, everybody? All right, first. I mean, you're not first, but you're still here. That's all that matters. Welcome to the stream, Algerian boy. It's good to hear you chilling, Big Mar. It's been a minute since I've seen you, big dog. All right. We got some stuff to talk about today, guys. What's good, Kesbut? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I DM'd you, Sabrick, but today, guys, if you guys have been peeping on my Twitter, I've been hold on. All right. Yesterday, we had a very big tournament where all of our strongest players from SFL came through. But it was dominated by one character. That's right, Steve. So, I put out a thread on Twitter talking about, hey, this is kind of fucked up. And I did ask some questions about, hey, what characters beat Steve? And I've really been trying to figure out, guys, what can we do so we can beat the Steve Menace? Today, what we're going to be doing today is we're coming together with some of the greatest minds here from South Florida. It's going to be me, Sabrick, and we may get a sneak peek from the lovely Eden, Snake Main, and one of my practice partners. And we're going to be discussing how can we beat the Steve Menace. Because you know what? As much as I could complain, I do got to admit, at the end of the day, this is the game I play. And I refuse to let a character like Steve dominate the game for me. All right, guys, that's the goal for today. Let's get into it. Now, bear with me for one moment. Let me go ahead and get this set up. Sabrick, I DM'd you my Discord. Add me there, and then we'll go from there. Ooh, gosh. I hit you up on Discord? Cool. Yeah, bro, your Smite competitive season started up, and next month you start plumbing school. Hey, bro, that's good for you. I mean, we're moving on up in the world. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Ugh, I hate all the Steve skins. Wait, you hit me? You hit me up on Discord? I don't see it. All right, hold on. Let me just go ahead and give you a call right now. I found you. Oh, what's going on? Why am I getting this many follows?
What happened?
Why am I'm getting a lot of follows. What's happening? Oh my God, everybody, what the? Ah! Ah! Are you planning on making a YouTube video about it? Yes, this conversation, I'm trying to record it all together, and I'm trying to make a video about this. Guys, all of you who followed, I'm gonna blaze through each and every one of you real quick. Kubixin, Trixie, Av Peshka, Raul Pro, Midoriya, Karim TV, Levid, Junko Sus, Palm Freak, Ermaniac. Y'all keep following. What the fuck? Oh my god. Potato Scandy T. Potato Scandy V. What the fuck? Calm. Moon the Girl. Awa. Ollie. Oh my god, there's too many people. Zai. Too many homies. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the stream. We're talking about Steve. We're gonna beat the Steve menace. I'm tired of losing to Steve. I'm tired of dealing with the bullshit. We're gonna beat it today. How you doing, Zai? Welcome to the stream. Everybody who's tuned in, if I missed your name, please don't hate me, but y'all are real for coming through. Hey, listen, dude.
I'm digging the energy though.
Absolutely, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about Steve. I'm trying to think about how to beat this character all day and really taking in information from just different Steve players.
Can people in chat hear me? Okay.
I may want to raise your volume real quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty soft-spoken.
Yeah. Let's get to talking. I mean, let me go ahead and mute. I gotta mute the follow sound. I gotta mute the follow sound. Oh my freaking god. Guys, don't hate me, but I'm muting the alerts for this. We gotta get a discussion going, guys.
My GameCube controller just started vibrating immensely.
Vibrating immensely?
Yeah, just on its own. That was crazy.
That's really strange.
I wasn't even like on the Switch. Like, all right.
Let me raise your volume real quick. Speak for me.
Hell, this is me speaking.
All right, bet. All right, cool. Speak with your chest. You got it, bro.
All right. I can give like a small intro on at least like my key takeaways that I would like to kind of try to touch on. Now I don't know, just like preface like if this all sounds way too obvious or not, but it's just stuff that I think is needs to be focused on, at least on like a first layer of approaching the matchup. And I've had a couple of talks with Dominator, with Tony and Nick Riddle, where like I shared my opinions on this, and like they all pretty much feel like I'm on the right track with it. So you can break down like what makes Steve broken or what people complain about the most into like 3 segments, I think. You have the neutral with the wall, like can your character handle the wall well, like whatever gameplay is around that. That's one thing. Another thing is how badly can they like mess you up, specifically with their jab combos off stage until like putting blocks out to block your recovery. Like how weak are you to that specific thing? And then how well can you take advantage while you have advantage when Steve actually is in disadvantage and hits stun above you or whatever, because he has a lot of he on a surface level appears to have a lot of mix-up and disadvantage, and that's kind of the area that I want to focus on for this, at least, because I think the other things are just very, very character specific, and this is more of a different approach you can take. And if your character doesn't have a specific tool that I'll reference during this, then there's plenty that do, that I think you can try to pick up on. So the thing that people I think when you think of Steve's disadvantage and how quote unquote broken it is the number of options that he has compared to the average character, where he can put out a TNT, he could put out a block, he could put out a down air, he could put out a side B, or then he has regular options of like falling with an attack or falling with an air dodge. And so like on the surface it looks like there's a lot of stuff, and there is, but you can almost treat Steve until conditioning him otherwise, you can almost treat him kind of similarly to how you might treat a multiple jump character, in that because they have multiple jumps and those are more resources than just burning their air dodge right away. Like you only get 1 air dodge per air state or whatever, or per, you know, if before you get hit. So people, when you throw a multiple jump character, Meta Knight, Kirby, whatever, above you, they're more likely to use one of their double jumps, triple jumps, or what have you immediately out of hit stun.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's like a lot of options. Like there's the anvil, there's block, there's block, there's minecart. Minecart allows you to jump. minecart allows you to jump. So like he has like more. He has a lot of options, and I do. And it is important to remember that like, hey, Steve because he has so many mix-ups on landing. It's difficult to juggle the character. It's difficult, but it's also very obvious to. It's kind of easy to know what option he's gonna go for because of this. It's
Well, okay,
like,
so that's exactly what I want to approach, though. So, I believe that if you specifically have a really good horizontally disjointed move, whether that is a forward air, a back air, a side B, neutral B, whatever the thing might be for your character, just something that hits relatively largely horizontally is going to be the best bet, because like you can juggle and get like bigger reward off of knowing he's not going to air dodge immediately. So like for an easy example, Mario, instead of going for down throw up air and getting barely a hit, maybe he can go for down throw IDJ up air, end up landing on a top platform and get something juicier, because generally you'll be able to bank on them not air dodging, and then if they do air dodge, you're hopefully a fast enough character that can capitalize on that and keep positioning or even directly punish it. But that does come with a slightly more risk in going for vertically juggling things, like you mentioned, because he's got anvil. So if he just has enough time, you can end up taking an anvil, or he could maybe mix up and do double jump anvil and have like a slightly different timing on that option. But if you have large horizontal disjoints, you can basically overshoot where he's falling in hit stun, or wherever your combo put him in hit stun, and overshoot a little bit and put out that horizontal move specifically. And that's why you see like Cola's Cloud will get a lot off of small hits, because he's just aggressively attacking these spaces with back air, neutral air, up air, forward air, like just something he's putting out all times. And I don't know if you saw also Big D against Onin, that the combo he got, like when Onin got diamond, came back and got 0 to death.
Yeah.
So the reason that all happened and worked is what I'm talking about. So he got a dash attack at 0. He did if you go back to the clip at any point, like he full commits to just full hop up air, like no shame, I'm committing to full hop up air. And okay, Onin actually did air dodge, right? Like you'd think that's the worst case scenario.
Yes.
But he was able to then frame trap with a back air, and then hit a side B, and then boom, after that side B, he was in the exact same situation. And what does Big D do? It's not just because he's in this last stock situation. Like if he was that scared of these options, he would try to play around them a little bit more, maybe lower or whatever. But he got that side B and like full hop committed up air and full hop committed up B, because I just punished the air dodge. He's definitely not going to air dodge right now, and he has like 5 other options that aren't falling stuff.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, I can't say for sure. He could have potentially, like, I think if Onin had, I mean, I need to double check the situation itself. But if Onin had gone for an anvil, I think Nana's like the percent threshold would have been like beaten out. So I think that.
Well, if you're coming directly from below, but if you have enough vert in the moment, like I think he did with Ice Climbers in that moment, because it wasn't like high percent. It was like 30 at that point. If you have enough vert to get horizontal with him at all, like, Ice Climber's upper is like a scoop from the side a little bit and then hits above, right? Yeah. So I think that's the area he was covering. And so the thing about all of these disadvantage tools is they all put him in the exact same spot for about 4 or 5 frames.
Okay.
If you really look, and if you just do like double jump down B, you'll see like he has a little hop, right? And then if you do jump down air, he also has a little hop and then falls before the hitbox really starts messing with you. And then if you do jump side B, he gets in the minecart and then goes forward, where he does have invul on the minecart, but if you're attacking slightly above like this area with a horizontal move, you'll hit his head and hit him right at. He's vulnerable. So the spot, all these are like, I haven't like explicitly tested it or did like overlays. This is all theory crafting, but like all of these spots are like roughly the same. So I feel like the worst thing that could happen realistically is maybe he got a block and landed perfectly and shielded, but then you're not really in a true minus situation, because you're just going to fall with your attack and still be under him.
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Before we continue, Pika Plays, thank you so much for the rate of 10. Everybody who coming through from that stream, y'all are great. Thank you all. Hope you had a great stream, Pika Plays. You're absolutely correct. Where like, yeah, Steve is vulnerable in those positions. So Steve is vulnerable in those positions because like he does have, because as you said, when he goes for down air, when he goes for down B, he does stall himself. When he goes for side B, he does. There's a moment where he's not only like stopping his momentum to side B, but he's also like just kind of stuck in the air, and the top half of side B is vulnerable because his head. The cart has the armor, not his head.
Not only that, but it's only the armor that starts on frame 1. The hitbox doesn't start till frame like I don't know, like I think it's like 8 or something, where it actually starts moving forward. So you're really, if you're actually in advantage and you just have something that can get out, a couple of frames after his hit stun is over, but it's like a horizontal thing around or above where he's falling. I think you can get a free hit like every time, or at least a bigger hit than you'd expect if you want to go for something juicier. Like Korn could go for like a back air, and like just cover that spot repeatedly.
Yes.
After like a down tilt.
So a common problem with Steve, and this is something I discussed with Coach Tony. Shout outs to, I believe his Twitter is @JustCTony. That's the Tony you see at Coach's Corner, guys. The problem, so me and Tony discussed this early on that like, hey, you can like, let's say minecart is one of the hardest options for most people to deal with, most characters to deal with, because it can be a quick option. Obviously, if it's no gold, it's only the slow minecart, and that's pretty easy to react to. You can play it. You should not be getting hit by that version. It's the moment that when he gets the
redstone.
Well, redstone makes it power rails. I think it was, or no, it's gold that makes it the fast minecart.
Wait, and gold makes it faster?
Gold is what makes it faster. Then red adds something on top of it. I could have.
I would double check that because I thought redstone did both. Because in the game, redstone literally. I don't want to sound like a Minecraft. I haven't played it.
Yeah, so like this is with redstone.
Okay. Oh wow. Yeah.
But once you get gold, that's what makes it like. Yeah, that's what makes it the fast minecart.
I had no idea.
So one thing me and Tony discussed is like, hey, if Steve is coming from here with the slow minecart, you can kind of react to what's going on and kind of just jump over it. If he's in the air, if he's in the air, like let's say, because usually they'll do like minecart from here, you can run under it, and that's like actually pretty self-explanatory to do. Yeah. And like that's pretty reactable from like around this range. However,
but then they like to down air out of it, right?
Well, yeah, but like keep in mind when they go for that, they can like they do the little hop and then they go up. They're able to go out. So there's a gap in between, and like if you know that they're gonna jump, or if you kind of stay outside of the range of where they're going to jump, like you can preemptively go for jump back aerial, and cover that space kind of well if you have a good enough disjoint. If you fight with your body sucks to stuck. However, the problem is not so much with that minecart. I think many people have an idea of how to like play around that. It's when they get this minecart. Now at this range right here, you're gonna be able to react to it. You'll be able to like, hey, if you have a move that can hit minecart, for example, Lucas can F-tilt minecart. It's actually pretty consistent on like beating F-tilt, so long as you hit the sweet spot. But at this range, it's super reactable to do so. It's when you're at this range where you are not reacting to minecart in that situation. There's no way you can react to it. Maybe if you're preemptively holding shield and you recognize it's happening, you can maybe do the roll. You can maybe do roll in, because if I set the CPU to 1, hold shield, and 2, mash roll forwards, they can roll in and cross up minecart, and that is actually
Yeah, to take stage.
yeah. It allows you to take stage. That is a consistent way to get out of that pressure situation. This also applies to I mean, maybe not when I do it like that. Oh wow, maybe it's
Lol. And that just always
Alright,
speech
maybe,
you.
I mean, maybe it's roll. You can roll, so you can roll, or I believe you can also jump. Give me 1 second. Let me just double check. No, I'm wrong. See, I'm wrong. See, I was lied to. Point is, when you go for when they have the powered minecart, that's where people need to start really being scared. So one thing I started trying to do was, okay, maybe when they have powered minecart, when I see that gold in their like, I don't know why it's flashing there. When I see gold in their status bar, from this point onwards, I need to recognize that.
Red alert.
Yeah, when I am like, ugh, Jesus Christ, stop mashing.
What's dumb about that to me is that it doesn't use the gold. You know, like it's not like a used resource. He just has to be at that level of mining, and then it's just unlocked. What, forever? You don't lose gold when you die.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't lose.
You only lose the gold when you actually make a weapon with it.
So you keep in mind, gold has 4 uses. If he uses it once, he cannot use it to make. He cannot use it to craft a weapon. He needs all 4 gold to craft a weapon with it. Which, if
so you do use it up. If you like use 4 minecarts, it'll lose the gold.
Yes. So I haven't used a single. Let's go back. So let's go. We get gold for the first time, which I'm gonna set a save state for that. Set a save state for that. If it's a full gold, then it crafts it. However, if let's say I'm gonna use 1 minecart here, I can't craft a gold tool. I cannot craft a gold tool with it.
Oh wow!
So it ends up being a total of 1, 2. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. 4 minecart uses.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Yeah. The more you know. The more you know. Please see. People. I hate Steve. I have a vendetta against Steve. However, I do know a lot of like the general information that matters against him.
And they could have done so much better with this graphical UI to keep better. Like, I hate that you don't see the redstone. I hate that I had no idea there was a use of 4 with the gold, or that it even applied with minecart, really. Like, whatever. My main takeaway from like the disadvantage piece, at least, is just like it's really a numbers game. Like, they have 2 options involving like falling. Like, they can fall with an air dodge, or they can fall with an attack, like a forward air or something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 falling options versus like 4 or 5 different options, which include double jump variations of them.
Correct.
So just like that's like a really safe bet that until you condition them to air dodge heavy, they're not going to air dodge or fall. Like, so early in sets, you really are almost obligated to go ham on advantage and like attack these areas. You can do it with an up air, but preferably if you have like a forward air and a good jump speed to get to that position consistently, like Mithra, Pyro forward air, Marth Lucina forward air, like just a quick swipe forward or backward. It really will just go a long way, and you consistently can like push him off stage, or if you have, God willing, a Palatina up air or Cloud up air that is both a horizontal hitbox and sends them upwards, you're in the best shape possible.
No,
I think
so
that I think the area that Lucas struggles with this regard is like you really only have forward air to spam in this, because like your up air is like your head, right? Like you're putting yourself out there for that.
Yes.
So you have your forward air, but then the double problem, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like you don't really have great like IDJ speed compared to other characters. Like you have like a weirder double jump, right?
Yes.
So it's sometimes you won't be able to get up there at like mid or higher percents to cover this spot with a forward air.
So, and I actually wanted to get into this because me and Jake were having an argument over Twitter because, he pointed out there, because I was looking for a hard counter to Steve. I truly think that Lucas suffers in this matchup, and he was saying there is no hard counter. Steve is a top 5 to 10 character, which makes sense. There's no, a strong character may not have a strong counter pick, but he says Luke is a totally fine versus Steve, and that it's an even matchup, and we're just struggling in an even matchup. And I'm just like, and I was thinking about that. I'm just like, okay, so let's break it down to what tools does Lucas have at the beginning, to him. Now, if we're gonna go back to Lucas. Now, one of the problems with Lucas, and the fundamental problem with Lucas in every freaking matchup, that every one of my problem matchups, and this is why I think certain matchups are borderline unwinnable. Borderline is the fact that he is not fast on the ground, and he has a slow double jump. Now, obviously, we can do Zare stuff. We have all these different opportunities.
That might not be bad for what it's a weak hit, but it'll work. That would work.
It won't break through my car if that's what you're saying. It
won't hit his head.
No, I don't. I mean, that's something I need to test. But you would see how low it Zare like this hits low. I can maybe go for full hop double jump cancels there. But all that aside, because he's slow on the ground and has a slow double jump, when trying to contest people, if my goal was to I want to juggle. Let's say I want to juggle freaking Rosalie. Let's say this is Rosalie and Luma. He's just kind of doing this thing. Just kind of doing their thing. Turn off the shield right there. It should be it. Yeah, I can catch it. But what happens if they drift back or they drift forward? Well, I have to kind of commit to where they're gonna go. Now, maybe Rosalie wasn't the best option.
I feel like in order to cover those kinds of spots, you have to commit with a full hop forward air, which kind of just kind of leaves you there for a while if you didn't get your hit.
Yeah, that's just a full hop, and double jump is slower. So when Steve is Steve will kind of occupy the space up here, it becomes very risky for me to try and contest them and try to juggle. So I can't opt for juggling, though I do have the option of, if he's going to anvil, reflect that free. Reflect that free.
Or
I do.
It,
yeah. It's slow enough to barely be reactable by the average human reaction time. So, which is good. That means we can kind of do this on reaction, but not 100% of the time,
And it won't always hit him either if he jumps off immediately.
It won't necessarily always hit him, because if he does it from high, he has to be doing it from low, around this area right here, for it to really for me to actually get the respect on him and kill him for it. And that's kind of it's a hard situation to be. It's a hard situation to be in, because they could easily just not go for that option.
Yeah.
The other option, and this is what and me and Riku discussed this, because I there was a Smash Fest we had where let me go Steve. Let me set the thing to Lucas. Lucas actually doesn't have the easiest time getting rid of blocks.
Yeah, it's there's basically those three main sides you have to evaluate.
Yes.
And I think if your character loses in one of these three areas, whether it's taking advantage enough of his disadvantage or not being able to, or if you're not able to deal with the wall, and or if you're not able to recover safely against blocks, it's if you've answered negative in 2 out of these 3 things, you need a secondary.
Yeah, I think so too. What is happening? We're just trying to discuss right now. I'm discussing some of my problems with Steve, Steve, with my current character, and we're kind of like, and me and Sabrick are like breaking down what it is your character needs to be able to achieve to kind of like beat Steve, and we've already established that the ability to juggle Steve consistently, which if you are a character that fights with their body, unless if you are a fast character, like you're fast enough in the air to like challenge and have a good enough area to beat them out, then okay, you can do that. But generally speaking, swords are where you, swords
or even big special attacks, like whatever specials you might be able to get out there quickly.
Maybe, I'm not 100% sure about that. But with the fact of the matter is, being able to juggle with him consistently, you need to have strong juggling tools. Having a strong up air, maybe a strong up tilt, those could be very, very useful against Steve. 2, you need to be able to have some kind of way to dealing with blocks. You know, I labbed out with Riku. There are different block formations that Lucas can kind of deal with. An example of this is like if he has two blocks. If he has 2 blocks set up right here, Lucas can actually F smash through both of them.
That's cool.
F smash through both of them. Okay, but generally speaking, that's like the only other option to like getting past blocks, either F tilting or doing that. And sometimes we can throw out a PK fire, but it gets difficult.
Does the fire hit the block and then go past it and hit him?
No, it stops at blocks.
Yeah, but that's one of the things it's really like upsetting to me. Like projectiles don't do enough to the block across the cast. I think okay, imagine this situation really quick, where it's Palutena versus Steve, and he has the 3 pillar. Like, what do you think is going to happen when Palutena hits hard side B to make a flame appear on the other end and hit Steve? Mm-hmm. Is a flame going to appear on the other end and hit Steve?
No, it stops in front of it.
Not only does it stop in front of it, but it doesn't explode, because of the way that the explosive flame works, if you try to do it against the wall of a stage, it just does nothing. You get a dunce. So not only does it not erupt at all, so I don't get to explode. The only way I can use explosive flame on the wall is if I perfectly space the spot to be like right next to the wall, before the wall. It's just really absurd.
Exactly. No, it is absurd. Now I do, I can keep on complaining about all this, but the idea, but the goal here, we're trying to find our options to beating this character. So
I really like Brawler for it, because I have the ball that can like bounce off of the top of the pillar and then fall on him. He has to be constantly building the pillar under platforms to kind of maybe deal with that. Mm-hmm. But in like high tense situations, I can get the ball out faster than he can get the 3 pillars out over and over again.
Shoutouts to J Mafia, because he actually on my thread responded to me with one thing that like Steve can struggle with are against characters that don't get ledge trapped, which is like an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing, but it makes sense because like a lot of there's a lot of like I messed up on that. There's a lot of like little setups, scenarios that you can set up on the ledge, but a character like ZSS or a character like Yoshi, who can kind of like have that, hey, I'm gonna get a disadvantage free card. That actually goes a very long way against Steve. Now, I'm not saying it's going to win you the matchup, but yeah, a lot of Steve's most like insane pressure, insane situations that get you killed is because of those ledge situations.
That's why I like how again, just Brawler's options in the matchup for all of his specials helping his recovery in some way. So I can do things like jump from ledge side B, jump from ledge down B over whatever he's putting out there. or not. I can throw balls down while I'm recovering to like mess with him, setting up his next thing. Um, I think Brawler does particularly well against Steve, to be honest.
You think Brawler does you think Brawler
Yeah.
does good well against Steve?
Yeah, so the same area that I'm talking about with the coverage, Thrust Uppercut does a very good job of destroying that spot. And that's actually kind of where I kind of sparked this was playing Apple. Hi, Apple in chat. I was playing Apple at Flynn's the last time we played, and he beat me with Ices, but in game one, it was Brawler Steve. I was at 100 on PS2, and he was at like, I don't know, maybe he was at like 65 or something. And I got a dash attack from center stage, put him up to the top left section, and I just full committed to jump forward, double jump up B, and I scooped him out of he did minecart out of hit stun. I just scooped him out of it and then killed him at 75 off the top. So it was a little committal because he definitely could have air dodged, but literally every other option got hit by that up B.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that portion of it. And then again, I like having the ball at least to mess with his wall that he puts up. And then I like having the helicopter kick. I was struggling to recover against blocks, but the thrust uppercut does a decent job unless he does like multiple vertical ones below the edge. Like that can mess me up. But like at least I have like double jump back down B or double jump back side B or just side B to the ledge. Like I have at least things. And then if he puts a wall out in front of the ledge, I can side B it, break it, and do the little bounce and then recover. Like like there are just things that I have that you know, characters would want to have at least one of these things, but like I think Brawler has like a handful that are all pretty good.
No, I think so too. Now, some other things to know. Which I can even pull up the exact stats here. Not Brawler. Steve is a very slow character. You know, yeah. I don't think anybody can disagree that like he is one of the slowest characters in the game in both the air and on the ground. Now,
and in the air it matters a lot for being a disadvantage.
Correct.
Like your drift sucks.
It does matter a lot. It does matter a lot when like trying to avoid a lot of Steve's like kind of pressure and avoid his approaches and such, because he doesn't really have that like. He doesn't really have that like he can't. He's not like Min where I can kind of like, oh, I'm gonna jump on top of you, then feint and I'm gonna come at you. Like he doesn't really have that luxury. He really doesn't have that luxury compared to like other characters in the cast.
Yeah.
Compared to other characters in the cast. Now, the reason why I chose Min is because I think something that's been, Jesus Christ, I need to switch the CPU.
I think Min Min is an excellent example for checks all three of the boxes in the positive way.
Correct.
Like, definitely gets to the ledge because it busts, like tethers typically bust through the blocks. Deals with the blocks wall because laser. Because you can hit the block with the dragon and then laser through and hit him. And then this like horizontal spacing thing is kind of her thing. So if you do hit him above you, which you're probably not really doing it that much, you're probably hitting him horizontally away from you, as Min most often. But if you are in this position where he's like at a 45 degree or whatever over you, you can put out these forward airs shamelessly and just know that you're gonna hit him out of things.
Exactly.
I definitely think Min Min's a really good pick for Steve.
I've been experimenting with this character a good amount. And I actually was playing with a Steve earlier today called Pen, where Min felt actually pretty good in the sense that like
you get to bully them a little bit and harass them.
Exactly. He can't just rely on just throwing out a wall and like mining for free. Now, granted, my Min is not great.
Sorry, you're also you're also less at risk of randomly getting grabbed or jabbed, which is what he like heavily relies on, or that weak forward air out of shield stuff. Like he relies on all of that pretty heavily to get his combos, like get the gears going. So you're playing at such ranges that like he just doesn't get those things as mix-ups when normal characters that try to interact with him are putting themselves more at risk of these things.
Exactly. Now, other characters some other characters that I've been told have been are some of the hardest matchups for Steve.
Can I give you one quick Min tip before shifting characters?
Go ahead.
Because I've been messing with her as well.
Sure.
I don't know if I ever told you. I don't know if I ever told you about this, but changing your controls from C stick to special on Min is absurdly broken and comfortable. Because it lets your quick tilts forward be ram instead of dragon arm.
Oh,
and
that's actually really good.
It lets you walk back and do ram or drift back and do ram, and it's just so much more comfortable and oppressive for covering space ridiculously over and over again, and for edge guarding. And when you're on the ground and you want to do ram up or ram down, you can literally hold up on the joystick and ram forward or back, or down on the joystick and ram forward or back. It's just super comfortable, and then obviously Megawatts also gets comfortable as a result as well.
Of course. I mean, I'll definitely consider that as an option.
You lose two things. You lose instant dash attacks because you don't have the C stick for that button anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to use A, and then you just have to be comfortable with up tilts and down tilts using A, basically.
Okay, that's something I would definitely take into consideration. I'm still considering what character I want to use for the matchup, but Min has been definitely a very strong pick, guys. It's just as we said, we're looking for a couple main criteria when dealing with Steve. We're dealing with the ability to juggle Steve consistently. Kind of disregarding some of his strong get out of jail free disadvantage tools. If they can deal with Anvil, if they can kind of keep him at bay. How well characters can do against blocks. I think if your character can't deal with blocks, then that's already a huge part of the neutral game that it gets stunted because of it. And 3, the ability to kind of avoid avoid his disadvantage, when he puts you in disadvantage. Now, Sabrick is suggesting that having 2 out of the 3
is good enough. 2 out of the 3 is more. It's more than enough to dealing with the character. There's not a single. I don't think there's a single character that is a verified hard counter to Steve. But I think having some of these traits is what is needed to make this matchup a little bit more doable. I think this preference is going to be different for everyone, maybe, but my personal opinion is the most important one might be the edge guarding one. The mixture of how well can you deal with the blocks on the ledge that literally gimp your recovery, and how well do you get back from the ledge when you're on the ledge against his traps. I think that category, to me, I think personally is most, because I just hate getting gimped, especially very simply by just putting blocks out and covering the other high option. The other pieces are more okay, you want to be able to disrupt his game plan and you want to be able to take advantage of your advantage, but I think you not dying is the first checkbox that matters the most.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me see if I can set up the CPU. The next character I've seen Didi play against Steve. He's had a lot of success with Ivysaur. Now, Ivysaur is a very strong character in the sense that, having one of the better options to juggle. One of the things that people never recognize about Ivysaur as a character is the fact that up air actually pushes Ivysaur downwards. So when Ivysaur is going for pressure situations or juggle situations, Ivysaur is always going back into getting back onto the stage and being put in a good position to keep up a juggle.
You could also do with his forward air and back air exactly what I'm talking about, the same thing. His forward air and back air are both good. So basically whatever side he ends up on, you can just jump to his hit stun area and throw these things out that he has to air dodge. I'm pretty confident that's gonna pop him out of minecart.
Yeah, it hits at him at an arc that's going to hit Steve out of it. And this right here is just a very good option. Now, I can't say for the rest of PT, but Squirtle, he has potential to stuff Steve out when he's
But
coming
he's got
in.
he's just got the problem. Like he's quick, but he's got the problem where he's attacking with his whole body. You know, like he's putting himself in the spots where Steve wants to be. You have to put yourself at risk of getting jabbed or grabbed, basically, or
Yeah.
up tilted by Steve, because your attacks are you. Like I think that might be another, but that really falls on like how hard you get hit by him kind of category. But like, I do think if you're just like fighting with your body and that's it, like it's gonna be a hard time.
But yeah, I think Ivysaur is going to be the wave. Charizard, he has some pretty big moves, but it's like we said, he is fighting with his body. If he's going to go for juggle situations, like he can maybe get an up air if he times it perfectly, but you're putting yourself at risk for going for something like that.
Yeah.
I think maybe forward air may be an option that could kind of do
Forward air and back air.
Forward air, back air can be kind of good for dealing with minecart.
Ivysaur is also good at recovering. Like anyone with the tether is going to be good at dealing with the block gimps.
I messed up there, but yeah. Part of recoveries get blocked by blocks. However, tethers do not get blocked by blocks
so
like
lame.
existing. Yeah,
it's alright. It's already lame, but like that would be like extra lame.
No, yeah, I mean, like, part of what I've always hated about, another thing I've hated about Steve, and like, and it's not all about Steve hate, it's all about finding counterplay. But, as Lucas, I'm forced to always go for a tether, because if he throws out blocks, I'll bounce off the blocks. And Lucas's, if the blocks are anything more than dirt blocks, Lucas's PK Thunder doesn't do enough damage to like break it, which is really dumb. God forbid I have to do that through iron blocks. No shot. But yeah, PT is an option that not just but like many Steves have said that it is a little bit of a problem matchup. And I would see if you are going to play PT, this will probably be a matchup where you play mainly Ivysaur. Having these disjointed hitboxes where like she can like break multiple block formations, pressure from afar. Like this will throw out a hitbox through blocks, and like if Steve is not respecting. Oh, that happens too. And the ability to down air. The ability to edge guard, excuse me. Oh, I died there. But point is, I think you guys get the gist of like, well, like Ivysaur can thrive in a matchup like this. Other characters to consider. Other characters that I've talked to other Steves about, and that they said this is a problem matchup. This is something that, hey, we need to figure out.
I think Hero is one.
Hero is one that like I've actually considered this one.
Yeah. Because like the game plan is simple, right? It's like get your buffs for free, attack.
Got your buffs for free. The moment that Hero gets bounce, you have eliminated both minecart, you've eliminated anvil.
And TNT.
Oh, and TNT. I was playing a Steve at Gommel with Hero. And it was actually some of the most fun I had. Then, on top of that,
the side B charge can go through wall?
It will go through blocks. Now,
that's amazing.
I had to set it up. Hold up.
Oh, but your recovery, though, gets bonked. Both Zoom and Up B will lose to block.
It does lose to block. That is true.
It's going to do the bonk.
Okay, it will do the bonk, but that's assuming you are directly under.
Wait, and then you just Up B. It does the bonk, but maybe it'll break the block, maybe, and then you recover after.
Yeah.
Or you do the infinite zoom where you just keep zooming over and over again because you have such a high chance of finding it. I've literally seen someone get like all the way under a stage just by mashing zoom and hitting the roof over and over.
All right, let's go here. Let's mash on.
I'm gonna have to leave in like 5 minutes, by the way.
Oh, you're gonna have to leave in 5 minutes, and the game crashed on me.
That's how Broken Hero is.
I mean, yes, that is definitely how Broken Hero is. Yeah, that happens with the mod pack, unfortunately. But yes, Hero has options to like breaking through blocks. There's many characters that I think have options to dealing with dealing with Steve. However, it is a very difficult. It's a very difficult situation to deal with. Now, I've been trying to think about what are the best ways to go about Steve, because part of what I struggle with Lucas, and I probably won't be playing Lucas in the matchup anymore, but part of what I struggle with Lucas in the matchup is the idea of like, hey, when am I supposed to go in? Am I supposed to like? Because I don't want to just rush in and be forced to box with Steve. Because if you're forced to box with Steve, you're probably in a bad position. Steve has some of the best boxing tools in the entire game.
For the reward he gets, yeah.
With an insane amount of reward. So you don't want to box. You don't necessarily want to box with the character. However, if you don't apply pressure to the character, he is going to mine for free. He's going to mine for free. He's going to get his materials, and then he's going to become God. And we do not want that to happen. We do not want that to happen. And I think the way we go about it is playing at like, you have to consistently play at like a suitable. Oh, what's going on?
Oh boy. I think Steve beats Palu, like straight up.
You think Steve beats Palu?
Yeah. I think the only box I can check in that matchup is I have good advantage on him. But like the neutral dealing with blocks and being edge guarded is like not fun.
I think Palu does okay. I think Palu can do well in the two aspects of she can apply pressure to blocks and she can juggle Steve pretty well, but the ability to recover is so difficult.
Yeah.
Especially with Palu. Like the moment that like if you have a teleport recovery, and you're forced to recover off stage, you just assume you're dead. Just assume you're dead. I think I saw I think it was Zai who would like who teleported on top of the blocks and did teleport cancels on top of them. If you're able to do that shit, you're goated. You're literally one of the smartest motherfuckers in the game. But generally speaking, like if you're forced to recover, assume you're dead. I don't know what the fuck is going on with the mod pack. But other characters, Lucina has been lauded as a very strong counter pick to Steve. There was a Lucina player who beat a good Steve player. I think it was oh my gosh, let's take a quick look. It was Pound 2022. Jake lost to it was either Jake or Yoni lost to a Lucina. And it was like a really, really big upset. It was like pulls too. Jesus Christ.
You know who might also do okay? And this is like might be a hot take.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'm just like thinking out loud, like Ridley. Potentially. Like depending on how the up B can go through blocks or not.
Yeah.
And then his neutral B, like I think charging it, like having a thing with multiple hitboxes that can break the block and then hit Steve is decent. And it's just a matter of how good his advantage can be, I think. Cloud is good. Cloud is good because you get your power up too, same thing as Hero. And then you get your big boxing options to harass.
You know, threaten block from like all around the stage.
I'm pretty sure one fair can go through all 3 block. Like
Yes. I was actually like doing that when I was playing with the Steve earlier today.
Diego says, check your Discord.
Check my Discord. Oof. Check your Discord. We're still here. We're still here, Eden. If you want to come through to the call, though, I think Sabrick has to start heading out.
Yeah, I gotta head out. I got some stuff to do with my dad.
I mean, bro, if you need to go, you need to go. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for actually coming in and discussing this with me, bro.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate the opportunity and the floor.
No, absolutely. I mean, I actually think a lot of what you said was like good. It's not, well, okay. It's not necessarily the end all be all to beating Steve.
But
However,
it's a guideline. Yeah. You need something, and at least this can like hopefully put it in very black and white terms of like, can your character legitimately handle these 3 sections of the game against the character? And again, if 2 out of the 3 of them are no, and if one of them is the recovery, especially, might want to reconsider the matchup.
Might want to reconsider the matchup. Yeah, I agree. Eden. So basically, I was basically just saying that we were basically discussing that, like, hey, for a character to be able to beat Steve, they need to be they need to have 2 out of 3 different criteria. 1, the ability to consistently juggle the character. Like, you know, ideally not having to juggle with your body, but being able to like kind of throw out some kind of hitbox that can like beat Steve out from there. 2, is the ability to deal with blocks. You need to have some kind of option to like breaking through block pressure and closing in that gap some way, shape, or form. You know, characters like Lucina, Cloud, Shulk, Sephiroth, or Min. Like, these characters can pressure when block is on stage and kind of still, like, not have to, like, expend so many resources to do so. The other thing is...
recovery and edge trapping.
The ability to get not die when they're at the ledge.
Yeah.
You know, the ZSSs, the Yoshis, where like they have options to get out of that fucking ledge trap situation. Yoshi with double jump armor, ZSS with flip kick. Brawler with his flip kick, surprisingly, it's not as good, but it is a start. And if your character does not have 2 out of these criteria, your character probably loses to Steve.
Ready? I gotta head out, but thank you so much, guys.
Yo, I appreciate you for tuning in, bro. You have a good one.
All right, thanks. You too. Take care.
All right. Bro, what was the tech? That was what David mainly wanted to highlight. What about Bayo? Well, see, Bayo didn't Sabrick say he had something for his disadvantage? I don't believe he did say that. I need to go ahead and double check what exactly he said. But I think Bayo is an interesting pick because what Bayo's really good at, she's able to burst characters in the air. So like obviously, let's set the CPU to jump. Like the fact that she can do ABK. I'm bad at Bayo combos, but bear with me. Don't hate me, Colvin. The point is, like, she's very good at, like, bursting down Steve. I don't know how well she's good at, like, actually breaking down blocks, but she's very good at, like, getting a hit on him, keeping him in disadvantage for a very long time. You feel like he can handle Steve? I don't know. I feel like if the Steve decides to play grounded and like incorrectly uses blocks, it can probably be a little bit difficult for Bayo to get anything started. Yes, that's the other thing. Not many characters are actually able to edgeguard Steve, which is like, it's actually really hard to edgeguard Steve for a character that has like a recovery with little to no hitbox. The fact that it doesn't matter is if he has double jump, he can minecart. He can up B. He can up B from the blast zone, which is kind of insane. But Bayo has the option of like, not that. Patrol the ledge. Patrol the ledge very well. Like, very good at covering low. Very good at covering low. But also, like, very good at covering, but also very good at covering high as well. So, like, that in itself is super good to have against Steve. So the moment he puts him in like a disadvantage situation, she can capitalize on it pretty well. But like I said, it's not easy to play Bayo like that. It's not easy to play Bayo like that. And that's like a lot of the time, like a lot of people getting damage on Bayo, getting damage with Bayo is because they're getting like bursted in the air by ABK. So if you are like playing on the ground, if you're playing a grounded playstyle with Steve, and correctly using your blocks, you're not going to be getting, like, the threat of ABK is not going to be, like, as apparent. Can you witch time the cart? You can witch time the cart, however, I don't know if that changes. Coven, if you're in the chat, if you are in the chat, Coven, I don't know if it changes if he jumps off of the cart. But yes, when he's on the cart, you can 100% witch time it. That's not to go through blocks. I would assume they go through blocks, but keep in mind, you don't want to go for, like, you don't necessarily want to go for a hard commitment option against blocks like that. I've seen a Steve get a 0 to death in high level play multiple times and just start camping again. Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think that's optimal. Like, you know, fact of the matter. Steve, more like toxic. Yes, the character is toxic, but we need to find answers. It's rough because I really want to set up certain like block. I wish we could like set up certain block placements with the CPU, but we can't do that with Steve in the training mode mod pack yet. Brother, what is this? Brother, we're having a discussion about like what can we do? I think Lucina's actually a pretty solid pick. You know, having a forward air that can that arcs like this and is a disjoint. is like very strong to have because it can go through like a lot of block setups. You know, like super F tilt. That goes crazy too. Lucina is hard, copium. That's the other thing. Lucina's so freaking hard. How are we killing Steve? That's a good question, big dog. That's an amazing question. By willpower. You have to get like edge guards like that. Yeah, if we can hit edge guards like that, Lucina will win the matchup, right, guys? You're not edge guarding Steve. Hey, man. It's gonna take willpower. Oh, this mod pack sucks. This is the third time it's crashed already. Bro, I just looked at Lima Bayonetta versus Yoni, posted 8 hours ago. And wow, I think Bayo is super good versus him. Okay, okay. Keep in mind, bear with me now, John. That is Lima at the highest level of play who plays Yoni every single week. They have Yoni and Trey 5. Now, I'm not saying that Bayo is bad against Steve. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think beating Steve is, hey, everybody pick up Bayo. Like that's just not the reality of it. Bayo is an option, but I don't necessarily think that's the best option. And plus, I think Lima is incredible in that region. Lima farms Texas when Mute isn't there. Simply. So, I don't think that's necessarily the best indicator of like I don't think that's like the best indicator of like if that matchup's like amazing. Because I do think that like Steve has some things. And for example, Bayo can struggle to kill. What Bayo has compared to other characters, the ability to like keep Steve in a disadvantaged state for a long time. Nobody should be looking at counter picks for Steve. I disagree. But I am coming to this from the perspective of a player, of like a Lucas player, where there are too many, where like I think Lucas loses in so many aspects of that matchup that it is not worth to play Lucas in that matchup. There are optimizations, and don't get me wrong, I'm not 100%. I'm not acting like I'm perfect at the matchup because I'm not. There's definitely more optimizations I could do in the matchup itself. But I personally don't think it is worth the time and effort to go Lucas in that matchup. There are other characters that are able to do it so much better. Shoki's a very strong character against... He's actually a very strong character against Steve. You know, having this range, it's up to it's very strong like very strong option of like beating minecart. It arcs above, so it will hit Steve at the top of the head. You know, Nair's a probably good option like that. This generally keeps Steve outside of your like threat range and everything. Up till is probably a very good anti-air for dealing with Steve, but bear in mind that doesn't really include like Anvil fucking disadvantage. You're better off just getting significantly better at the matchup than they are versus you. I don't agree. Steve is not Brawl MK LOL. So what is your show gonna do differently than Kome? Listen, I'm not saying that I'm gonna be picking up. I'm gonna be picking up Shulk. I'm just saying that hey, this is an option to potentially dealing with Steve. I personally haven't decided what character I want to play versus Steve. However, playing as Steve earlier today, going through a couple different characters. I'm talking Cloud, I'm talking Sephiroth, I'm talking Rob, I'm talking Min Min. I felt like Min Min had one of the best times dealing with a lot of the Steve shenanigans, just because she didn't have to be in the range to deal with the shenanigans. Sephiroth is not worth it. Yeah, I agree. I think like, what is it? Both like J Mafia put it the best way that like people immediately thought Sephiroth beat Steve from the fact that like when he counters a minecart, when he counters a minecart, Steve dies from it. Apparently, Steve is +2 for Min Min. That's crazy. Because it didn't feel +2. But you know what? I'm not a Min Min main, so I wouldn't know. But both Min Min and Cloud felt the best when dealing with Min Min. I mean, dealing with Steve. Simply because they had... Like, they had an easy time either pressuring from afar or not really caring about block setups. Rob felt pretty good as well. You know, Nair was a solid option to actually like. I show. Nair was like a very good option to like beating out block setups. The fact that Rob can go high allowed him to get out of a lot of edge guard situations. I didn't have to deal with like the TNT on the ledge. I didn't have to deal with the TNT on the ledge and stuff like that. I didn't have to deal with the complex setups. I could just go high, call it a day. Steve can't really chase Rob up there. Although he plays ZSS versus Steve, ZSS seems like a pretty strong character against Steve. I think some Steves agree that like that matchup's actually pretty bad, but then again, Akola folded Mars and defolded Choco and the other other ZSSs. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, like that's where I currently stand with Steve. I mean, I have been thinking about different like different ways to go about like playing around like the character itself, or what I should maybe do. Like, for example, if he's mining and like he has a wall up. Well, if he's this close, if like, for example, if there's let's say Mega Man is the wall. If Steve is mining right here, then it's risky for me to try and break down the wall right here because I have the risk of just getting hit. These matches at the higher levels are either mixed results or in Steve's favor right now, but everyone sees a disjoint and says the character does well versus Steve. What the fuck does not knowing the matchup mean? Okay, Turtle, and Turtle. I'm gonna disagree with you there. Where I actually think a lot more people know what they're doing against Steve than a lot of Steves give people credit for. I'm not saying that everybody's a god at the matchup, but I definitely feel like, you know, not everybody can be bad at the Steve matchup. A common like response I get from most Steve players is learn the matchup. Learn the matchup and like, oh, you need to do better. You need to be better at the matchup. But like, there's so many instances where it's just like, I know more of the matchup than Steve mains know versus like Lucas Steve. Like, I know the basics of what Steve does. I know what the materials do. I know what materials to look out for. I know how to count. I know how to counter certain block setups. I know ways to get around certain ledge traps. That doesn't just because I don't know the matchup doesn't necessarily mean just because I know the matchup doesn't necessarily guarantee that I'm going to win. The character is extremely over too. That is something we're not gonna. I will not change my mind about. So if people are playing too incorrectly, then how can you even tell what characters are bad for Steve? That doesn't make sense. That's why I'm saying picking a random character for Steve specifically isn't a solid strategy. You know, and keep in mind, this isn't. I'm not trying to say this to like tell you. Like, you're right. People need to learn more of the. There's more intricacies into the character that like people may not know, but like a lot more people do know what's going on against Steve. It is that hard to counter. Or there's certain scenarios that are just like you really can't do much about. I was in the grind cord when I was looking for friendlies to like play against Steve, and DeBuzz was playing with Demona. Demona is one of the Wi-Fi Steves that does well at every Wi-Fi bracket, and even DeBuzz was trying to figure out like, even he in the chat. Like, I'm not gonna go through all of his notes, but he in his chat was trying to figure out what was a certain range that he wants to play at. He was trying to play Rosie and Luma in it, and he'll say like he feel like he has to play like this timeout style, and play this very slow timeout style regardless of materials, because at the end of the day, Steve is gonna get his materials. Steve is gonna get his materials no matter what. Oh my god, bro, he just spams minecart and it works because Wi-Fi. This is true. But if it worked, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fix it. Simply. Simply, if it ain't broke, we do not fix. No, sir. The timeout strategy is kind of bad too, though. No, Eden is correct. Because Mudace went for the timeout strategy originally. And I watched a lot of Mudace's sets so to like kind of see where it like works. Welcome to the chat, Sixer. How you doing? At some point you are going to be forced to fight Steve. At some point in the match, at some point you need to get some kind of damage on him. And only when you have a substantial lead, can you time out. And even then, there's only a handful of players, maybe only a couple I can count on one hand that can consistently time people out like that. Just here, anyone got a Spark Notes? I don't got Spark Notes for now, but don't worry. I'm gonna actually post. I'm gonna post like the details of this. I was supposed to post like the video of this stream on I'm dead. Post the details of this stream like on YouTube. I'm gonna just post it. You have too much to type. Call me on Discord. Oh yeah, absolutely. We're getting Shannon on the mic, bro. Shannon's coming on the mic. Gonna break down the play-by-play. Talk to us, Eden. What's going on? Oh no! My Switch!
Alright, Skip.
Alright. Talk to me, Shannon. What's going on?
How'd you do that? You just kicked this shit over?
Dude, okay, there's so many cords over here that like I hit a cord and pulled it down and it just unplugged. Alright, cool. We back.
Okay, so basically, for one thing, the thing that I was saying earlier, it's baffling to me how everyone just says right now, oh, people just don't know the matchup, they're not playing it right. Like, are you playing it right, motherfucker? How are you telling me how to play it? And if everyone's playing it wrong, how are you telling me that this X character is bad for Steve? That doesn't make any fucking sense. If X character is playing this wrong, what makes you think that the Steve is playing it right? Because the Steve doesn't have to do anything. Until the players actually play good against Steve, the Steve doesn't have to put any character-specific counterplay, which means that we don't know what matchup's bad for Steve at all. People were on this train of like, oh, Zero Suit does really good against Steve. Why? Because she has a like long disjoints and like mobility, right? That seems to be the theme. A sword and mobility seems to be the thing that people really like against Steve. Makes sense because you don't want to interact with him. But Steve also has Minecart, and Minecart has armor at the very beginning of it, and Steve also has the best parry game in the game, and Steve also has a ridiculous advantage, and Zero Suit does 2 per fucking interaction. So you have to keep doing it. And how does Zero Suit kill Steve? She's not gonna edge guard him. She's not gonna hit him with near flip kick. She can't really threaten his disadvantage that well.
Absolutely.
I'm not even saying that Zero Suit's bad against Steve. But, like, why are people saying that this character shits on Steve? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
and Zero Suit could very well be good against Steve. I think she does pretty good against Steve. But, like, stop saying that this character does well, this character does well. You don't fucking know. You do not fucking know. Like, at all. None of you do. I don't.
Lot of this is one that I kind of resonated with. Well, Lada is just like the fakest thing I've heard was for a bit was Aegis beating Steve. Now, I can't say for sure if Aegis beat Steve, but I played that. But immediately from when I started playing with Riku, he immediately said that matchup is -2. I've only beaten Riku once since I played Aegis. I
think Aegis could do very well against Steve, but it's in an ass backwards way where you just kind of, where you actually use Pyra a lot more than like because there's no point in using Mithra because you can't necessarily abuse the fact that Mithra can dash in at any time because it blocks.
Exactly.
So you use Pyra and Pyra's huge hitboxes, but then you're playing Pyra.
And then it brings up the question, oh, mobility beats Steve, right? But Pyra, mobility.
But Pyra does have very good air drift.
She has
a huge upper. So like Pyra has these advantages, but then Mithra also has these different advantages. But that's what I'm saying. You don't actually know how this matchup fucking breaks down because no one knows what the fuck they're doing against Steve. Now, timeout strategy is idiotic. Timeout strategy doesn't fucking work in Smash unless, very specifically, the character is terrible. Like, this is just factually, like, across Smash as a whole.
Yeah,
I've never seen a timeout strategy actually work outside of a game like Thrall. And the times that it did work, in, like, Smash 4 or in this game, it's because the character can specifically stall you out in a lot of scenarios. So Sonic, Sonic can stall the game. because he goes from way faster than you can get. He goes from one side, and then he would do like invincible spin dash or shield cancel them, and he just keeps doing that, right? And just keeps stalling you out. Same thing with Pac-Man. Pac-Man is Steve Light. With that, he puts the fucking Hydra down, and you have to jump, and then you have to jump into Pac-Man, but you don't want to jump into Pac-Man, so he's stalling things out. Brawl had a bunch of planking mechanics.
Yeah.
Steve himself can stall the game out with blocks and like planking and blah 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 blah. Like there's so many things. Like when you have these type of strategies, that's when timeout strategies, in my opinion, become like actually viable. And it's not because they're unviable; it's because they're humanly unviable. Unless you have unless you have a stall strategy, unless your character can employ a stall strategy, a consistent timeout strategy is just not going to work for you because you're going to make a fucking mistake. Like, period. Especially against a character like Steve, Kazuya, like that's just, it's going to happen.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. At some point, like I think people say, oh, just camp them out from the beginning of the game. At some point, you are going to have to interact with these characters in some way, shape, or form. You know, and the whole camp out strategy, people, you know, even in Smash 4, when Sonic was like actually timing people out, it was still a very hard playstyle to keep up.
Yeah, like only like 2 or 3 players in the world were able to do that.
It was literally only Ken and Wrath. Which Wrath never broke that barrier of being a top player in Smash 4. And Ken,
Static Manny too.
Oh, you're right, Static Manny. Redacted, but it's okay.
Yeah. But like generally speaking, what was that? But generally speaking, that's just like it's stupid. And then if you don't believe me, then let's just think about it like this. Steve is a character that gets better over time, right? So if you're giving him a bunch of time, he's literally just going to become infinitely better, right? And it's not necessarily because of Diamond. Who cares about Diamond or Gold or any of that shit? Like, Wood is the same fucking thing. Let's be real. His buffs aren't actually anything. The actual buff that he gets is just having a shit ton of fucking steel. Iron? Whatever. Iron.
Yes.
When he has iron, he can then throw out a ton of mine cards, a ton of anvils. Anvil itself, Anvil out of shield is literally the best out of shield option in the game. Minecart, even though Steves generally don't use it that well, there's a tons of mix up to it, and then here's the other thing. Minecart has super armor until he actually starts moving. So, you know how people like to say that Sephiroth is like good against Steve because he can counter them and kill them at 40?
Yes.
Sure, that's when Steves are doing bad minecarts, but then after that, Sephiroth attacks very slowly. You know what Steve can do? Steve can, instead of parrying, he can time a minecart to get hit by the back air, and then the minecart will go through and hit him. Because he'll tank it.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of Sephiroth specific because Sephiroth attacks so fucking slow, but it's very much a thing that Steve is going to be able to do against those characters that are just spamming long hitboxes. And like the risk reward of you getting hit by like a back air versus Steve hitting you with fucking anything is pretty much in Steve's favor.
Yes. You know, one of the reasons why a lot of Lucas's and Steve players were just like, oh, the matchup is even for Lucas, because Lucas actually has a very good time of breaking minecart. If he minecarts, F-tilt, sweet spot F-tilt is a consistent option to beat. It'll, if I always hit the sweet spot, it will always break through minecart. That's something like whether it's power rails or whether it's the normal one. My problem with that was just like, one, you're basing it on like the Steve doing these, like you're assuming that the Steve is always gonna do like a minecart in a position where like I can react to it and recognize and then go for the F tilt. And if that is happening, then the Steve is probably doing bad minecarts. What happens if they're doing minecarts outside of my reactable range? What happens if they're doing for high minecarts and then jumping off immediately? Like there's too much nuance for that to be a defining factor in in a matchup. That's why like that's and the same thing goes where it's like, hey, Sephiroth beat Steve because he can counter minecart, but you just explained the situation, like the nuance to it, and it's like, oh wait, all of a sudden, Sephiroth doesn't look that good, doesn't look amazing against Steve anymore.
Sephiroth's starting to look worse and worse every single day. But also, Sephiroth sucks, JK. But anyways, not JK. That character sucks. Anyways, so the actual, what I think. Now obviously I don't fucking know. But what I think is the best way to play it against Steve is, like, when Steve say, like, yeah, you have to play at mid-range, like, they're not wrong. The problem is that shit is hard. But there are things that you can take advantage of. The thing is that people, I've noticed, have two modes. Just in general. They're either super rushed out, and they're really in your face, or when they don't want to play that, they play very fucking, they don't play campy, they play runaway, and this doesn't work. Both of these extremes don't work. You have to actually learn how to play the fucking game. You have to learn how to play the fucking mid-range against Steve. Playing the mid-range against Steve is the best way to actually fight this character, and it's not necessarily because, oh, he's super weak at it. It's more because when he's in mid-range, if he commits to a minecart, he cannot minecart again until the minecart is gone. Which people don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So,
you're right. People do not know that. That is true.
yeah. So staying in the center, in mid-range, baiting out the minecart, actually gives you an opportunity for you to go in without thinking of minecart. This is the same thing with Anvil. Once he anvils, he cannot anvil again until the original anvil is gone.
Correct.
Anvil is also in disadvantage, is parryable on reaction. You can, say anvil, parry, and you can hit him with whatever the fuck you want.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously,
look,
they
Anvil,
could
I can't
jump
do
off.
it again. I can't do it until he's gone. And then if we want to do, let me get the iron. I jump off. That's when I cannot, because it fell off the stage and it's gone now. I disappeared. Like that's when I can go for another minecart.
These are some of the more polarizing. These are the polarizing options that Steve has in his disadvantage, and this is why he's really hard to take advantage of, because he could, at any given point, he could minecart or he could anvil. So when you learn to play around these tools and you get to actually figure out how they work, and then obviously once he doesn't have iron, he's significantly worse as a character. That's when you can actually take advantage of Steve. So it's either, he committed to an anvil, okay, I can start swinging now.
Yeah.
Because he can't do it anymore, right? He committed to a minecart, he doesn't have another minecart. Like, these are your opportunities to either take more stage or to pressure him. So some along those lines. Realistically, it's to put on the pressure. It's always putting on pressure so that he's either throwing out iron in a way that you can avoid and then take advantage of, or just, alright, fine, he lost iron.
I feel like one of the things that's actually helped me a lot, or one of the things that's actually helped me a lot when like dealing with Steve, is actually keeping track of his iron. Like actually keeping track of his iron, like say, oh, he has no iron, like calling it out, oh, he has no iron. And I remember it was me and Black Eye Gamer. We teamed at that Southwest Florida tournament that I went to. And we had like a 2v1 situation versus one of their Steves, and I just said, he has no iron, trap his landings, or we can actually like, there's no minecart, or I threw him off stage because he had no iron, like he has no minecart. We can apply pressure.
Steve could condition you, but that is just playing the game. Like, you're not gonna get a one-to-one solution. That's the problem, is that Steve's risk reward is a lot stronger than every other character in the game except for like Kazuya. But that's not really the point. There's nothing that I'm gonna tell you that anyone's gonna tell you ever. It's gonna be like, oh, you just do this, and then what does Steve do? That's not how it works. I was responding to someone in the chat.
No, yeah, that's not his.
So there's a lot of little things that you can do to take advantage of Steve in those type of scenarios. Another thing, um, go go to Battlefield.
You going?
You go to Battlefield.
Uh-huh.
Stream is delayed.
Alright, let's go to Battlefield right now. Alright,
Well, I'm a couple seconds behind.
no worries.
Okay, so you know when you hit Steve into the sides, and then you have to like kind of deal with like, is he gonna minecart or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have the ability to get to a platform after hitting Steve, just do that.
Yeah. Oh, you actually told me about this, because literally, if Steve is over here and he goes for minecart, the only thing he can really do is go here.
It's high or low. Like if they're like off stage and they're doing that shit where they're just gonna like randomly minecart, if you get onto that platform, you can then react to high or low, and like it's one of the best ways to deal with it. Now the problem with Steve is that he has so many ways to mix up his minecart. He has so many different heights that he can do it, that it's really hard in the moment to see which one it is, because each different height has a different fucking counterplay.
No, yeah, this is true. What I was considering is maybe because one thing that actually happened yesterday is Riku went for a lot of side Bs against me, but like he would do like preemptive jump, and then like forward air. And I was thinking that maybe like because like usually if I'm over here, or rather, let me knock mine off the fucking platform. If I'm over here, like at this distance, I'm gonna be able to react to minecart no problem. So at this point, you can either jump, you can throw out your hitbox, you can go from there. But he would do like that, and in the event that like if I tried to like contest him, I'd get hit. If I tried to go for like my F tilt, I'd get hit. So I'm thinking maybe like jumping backwards, like.
No. If someone's just approaching you with minecart, like especially something like a low minecart like that, literally just jump into them and hit and press A.
Okay.
What's gonna happen is either they're gonna stay in the minecart and they're gonna pass you up, in which case they wasted a minecart, or they jump out and you're gonna hit them because they have a little bit of cooldown before they can actually throw out a hitbox. Literally just jump forward there.
But back to what we were saying about this, like yes, this situation, like using the platforms to your ability is like very good. Now I guess it gets a little bit trickier when he's like here, but generally speaking, I've come to like, I think even with
the cooldown isn't that long, but like it's enough. Like if he's literally just disrespecting you and just going into you with minecarts, you just jump into him, because like the minecart hits low, right? Like these are for low minecarts. He hits low, the minecart hits low. You jump in, you swing. If he jumps out, you're going to hit him because he has to. I don't know. Let's say it's like 5 frames. I think it's like 5 frames of cooldown, and then he still has to get his hitbox out. Mm-hmm. Which is like what, maybe 4 frames? So that's at least 9 frames. And then if he didn't jump out, then he just passed you up, and like who cares? The situation is reset basically. Like that minecart is shit. If they just go in with low minecarts, it's shit, complete shit. Then technically, if they do really high minecarts, then you just go under him.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, he lets go of minecart, the minecart's gonna go back past you, and then he's above you. And then at that point, he has the options of blocks and anvil. Now, obviously, anvil is really fucking scary. fastest aerials frame fucking 12. What character do you play?
He plays. Telos plays Bowser.
Well, why are you playing Bowser against Steve, bro?
We're,
I don't,
we're,
I don't know
we're,
what to tell you.
this chat is for condoning self-care. All right.
Jump side B. There. That's frame 6.
That is
You're
frame
welcome.
6.
Anyways. Frame 9, it doesn't matter. Like,
Oh, I mean, like obviously, the side B's frame 6, the jump squad is frame 3. But like, point is like, yeah, like Bowser against Steve. That sounds like a nightmare.
no, the point is that like if do the minecart where you just like literally do it on the ground.
Oh. Look at all that time you have to like react. Obviously, this is assuming they're doing this from this far away. This is a bad minecart.
But like even then, like yeah, you see, like jump out as fast as you can.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, so like you see him fucking start it up and then he goes for a little bit and then he jumps out and it's pretty quick, but like the time that he takes to build the minecart, go forward, then jump out, like that's enough time for you to jump forward and hit him.
Jump forward or just I'm out.
And like if he did it earlier and he just backed up, like who cares? Nothing happened. Like nothing happened. Most characters have more range than Steve too, so like you can realistically start it a little bit further than he can to actually hit. Especially Bowser forward air, absolutely. Anyways, high minecarts you're supposed to go under, and then play the anvil game.
Yeah.
If you back up versus high minecart, if you back up versus minecart in general, you're just gonna get bullied because he's gonna keep going forward with his stupid things, and then you're also gonna be in between the minecart, which doubles as a command grab. So it's really like if it's low, you jump over it. If it's high, you go under it. And then there's that really annoying one that's like the mid one, which is like a short hop, or like that really awkward height that can.
That's really like.
It's like when he jumps out, he's gonna be able to hit full hops, but like the minecart is low enough where like it still hits people on the ground. That's the really annoying minecart.
Like that one.
Like that one. That one's insane.
Yeah, that one's great.
Like that one's broken. But at the same time, I do think that one would be the one where like you could still realistically just run. I think that one becomes more character specific. Like, can't do how high does your character jump? You know.
Does your character have an option that beats on minecart? Because there are characters that have options that like just outright beat it. You know, Ness.
Yeah.
What Didi was telling me, like Ness Nair beats it 100% of the time, and like that's actually super useful because his Nair is quick and it's big. Lucas F tilt, like this is where I'll probably do dash back F tilt and such.
I probably wouldn't do a random move. I don't know. It seems tricky.
You got flame breath 100% of the time. Hey, you know what? If
There's no way that you no get the fuck out of here. There's no way you were just saying that my fastest aerial is frame 12 and now you're talking about flame breath. Flame breath is like frame 30 something.
That is true. That is true. Actually, let me
Spot dodge. Yeah, I'm sure it breaks cart, but like, it's frame 30 something. You're not.
You would need to.
You're not reacting with that, my guy.
You would need to be preemptively doing the flame.
Yeah, you need to preemptively flame breathing, and then you're preemptively frame breathing.
Yeah, you would need to be doing that like preemptively, and like. Okay, if they're far away and they're doing a bad minecart, then you'll get away with it. But like, if they're doing like actively like, here's like a good minecart where like, it's close enough that like if you fuck up, you're gonna Like if you react wrong, you're gonna get hit. In
Something
fact,
that I've always wondered is how does parry actually interact with minecart? Like,
I believe it's. That's actually a good question. I actually that's a great question. I wonder.
because like if you parry and then they like, if you parry, do you still get grabbed? I feel like if you parry, you would be
Well,
able to just like run under,
well, if
right?
you pair, well, the thing is, you can parry, and then if they jump, then you'll still get grabbed.
Well, what I'm saying is that you parry it and then you dash forward, and if they jump, you're under them, right?
Potentially.
Or they jump forward and you're behind them and like nothing happens. Now, obviously, this will be like the reason why I say this is because that one that I said that minecart that I said was broken.
Yeah.
If you can just like, because this has happened where like I've just plainly like shielded a minecart or parried by accident and then nothing happened to me. But it was those ones that are like, oh, they're right off the ground, they hit, and then they jump off, but the minecart just kind of goes past me.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, if that's how that works, because the reason why the way that I see it in my mind, right, is that grounded minecarts, they'll hit the front of your shield,
Yeah.
right? So then it hits the front of your shield, so then the rest of the minecart still has to come through, which means that the rest of the minecart is going to grab you, and that makes sense to me.
Yes.
It's dumb, but that makes sense to me. I don't know if you have enough time to parry or like spot dodge the grab on a regular shield. I don't know if you have like enough time to do all that. And if you do, that is very, very strong against Steve. Because then at that point, the mix-up kind of goes away.
That's something I'm gonna need to have. I'm probably gonna need to test out with somebody in person. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you want, I can come over one of these days and I can help you test it out. But like basically, it's like, so the minecart on the ground hits the front of your shield, and then either on parry or on regular shield, can you dash forward or spot dodge? If you can do either of those, then the grab hitbox does not matter. And then you can spot dodge, cancel, or parry into a hit, right? Or just whatever. And then if that one doesn't work on the grounded one, that's fine, because we already have an answer to the grounded one, which is just jumping into him and hitting him in the fucking face.
Yeah.
But and the high ones, obviously it doesn't work. It doesn't work against those because you're not shielding the high ones. When they come back down, they're already command grabs, and that's why you can't shield against those, right? But the mid-high ones, which is like he's kind of transitioning from the hit into the grab box, how does that work? Because he's gonna hit like roughly the top of your shield.
Oh fuck.
And then like if you parry or like if you just shield it, can you just spot dodge it? Can you like roll through? Like what can you do? Is this a thing? Is there like a fucking, is there time in between those things that you can do? I'm pretty sure there is. Because if you can do that, then that means that shielding those incoming minecarts is no longer a bad situation for you. In which case Steve has to play, you can start invalidating a lot more of these minecart mix-ups. Maybe not invalidating, but like keeping them honest.
Yeah.
And then they have to play with like their actual tilts and like grabs, which are still broken, but
No, yeah.
I'd much rather have to deal with like tilts and the really laggy grab than have to deal with that on top of, oh god, I don't know what to do against this minecart in particular at this height.
No, I think you're right. And Because then there'll be a certain spacing where it's just like there'll be then that'll mean there'll be a certain spacing that like you could just stand at, and the threat of minecart wouldn't be as heavy. Like because it should be like
you're never gonna invalidate that move. That move is insane, but like just have it, because for all intents and purposes, I feel like majority of the time people just don't know what to do against minecart. Like they try to hit them out or they avoid them, but they don't know exactly how to do it, and it's very different depending on the height. And I don't think people have actually figured out how to do any of that at all. Also, I'm gonna double check a couple things. Let's see, what's Steve's fastest aerial? Nair?
It's Nair, Bear, and Fair. They're all the same frame.
No, that's the no. No, it's Nair. The Fair that you're thinking about is the short hot macro Fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, but that's not like that's basically another Nair. Like, you know, the strong Nair and
yeah, I know what
that's
you mean.
That's frame 8 and frame 12. So Steve's Nair is frame 4. And then minecart. Yeah, okay, so jumping out animation is 5 frames, of course Steve can act out. Yep, so you would have at least 9 frames to hit Steve, and that's if he goes for Nair. Which, if you take a Nair, who cares? And then you would have 13 frames to hit Steve before he can forward air. The pretty good amount of
that's more than enough time. That's most of my. I think all my normals are faster than that, except for like down air.
So yeah, so if Steve does those really shitty grounded minecarts, just jump and hit him. That's exactly what you need to do. These team the bailout, the gentleman on frame 6 is when the card can grab opponents. Armor notes, the minecart has 8.4 HP, Stephen House has 60 knockback armor, the part can't jump to see it. Okay, yeah. So
And the cool thing about this chat, like we're like me and Eden, we are not Steve mains by no way, shape, or form. But if we put a little logic into it, we can figure out something. So we can figure out something. We put the time and effort into it, you know.
I guide others to a treasure I cannot see.
I guide others to a treasure I cannot attain.
So, Steve has a hitbox on frame 18, and then by frame 24, he can grab. That's how this is looking to me right now. Because it says, yeah. So, frame 18 startup, and then if he just jumps out immediately, because it doesn't seem like there's any other window. Like any reason why you wouldn't be able to jump out any earlier than that. Actually, I don't know when. What? Frame and Steve jump out of Minecraft. Does anyone know? I don't fucking know.
That's something we're definitely gonna have to lab out. We're gonna have. When you come over next time, we go.
Just do it. You can literally do it right now. Just get on the minecart.
Okay.
Go to frame by frame.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So you're gonna activate a minecart, and then you're just gonna be mashing jump and see how long it takes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Click on the 27th frame. I start my jump. 28,
27 frames.
29, 30, 31. Yeah, from there, I'm in the air.
Okay, so the earliest that Steve can jump out is frame 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's plenty of time for you to react.
Yes, sir. Which, for those of you guys that don't know, average human reaction time is about 20 frames if you include input lag, input delay. Okay. Average human reaction time is about 13 frames. If you include the input lag the game itself has, that's about, it's either 6 or 7 frames. I think it's 6 frames in this game. It may be 7 frames. Generally speaking, it takes 20 frames for someone to react. On average. Obviously, if you're...
disingenuous.
On average. Obviously, there's other factors to consider. If you are active, your reaction time is going to be faster. If you're actively looking for an option, that will also adjust. Audio cues can also affect things too. But we're just as kind of like a baseline. That's helped me a little bit. With certain things hey, the point is 27 frames is more than enough time for you to be able to react.
No. Yes, you're right technically about everything, but 13 frames is average on someone looking at one thing in particular. In a match, you are focused on so many different things that even if it's 13 frames, you're not reacting. Even if you have even if it's 20 frames, you're really not reacting. You need to be looking somewhere towards 30. Which is why him only being able to jump out on frame 27 is pretty good, because that means that you can see the minecart coming for 27 frames, and usually in most situations, as long as you were looking out for the minecart, you can then go ahead and implement whatever the fuck you want to implement. But I wouldn't say don't look at moves and be oh, this is 20 frames to do this, I can react to this. No, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna look like a moron. You're gonna look like a fucking moron. You can't react like that. Realistically, with all the stimuli that's going on in the match, you're gonna be looking to react around something like frame 30 or something. You're reacting to situations, not moves. Always remember that. But yeah, I don't know if this. Can you make a opponent shield?
I can make the opponent shield, yes. I can make him shield, and then I can also make them mash an option.
There's no parry option here.
No parry option.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just make them shield and do the short hop minecart and jump out, try to see if you can hit them, and then can you do something? Okay, so first do the grounded one, and as soon as you're about to hit him, and then hit his shield with the minecart, and then just jump out and see if it just grabs, right? I'm pretty sure it will, but just see. No, you have to actually hit his shield.
I know, I'm doing it too early. Okay, I tried to jump. No, it's not letting me jump. Oh, there it is. That's 8.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a way for you to set it up so that when you hit this thing's shield, you can make them do an option?
Yeah.
Can you make them spot dodge frame 1?
Frame 1? Yeah, I can do that.
Or just make them spot dodge. Oh, there he goes. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And then he should be able to spot dodge cancel, up smash, and hit you before you can do anything.
I can actually set it up that you can just I'll smash right after.
Block was definitely your. I don't know. I don't think is he spot dodge canceling?
I don't know if he's spot dodge canceling. I can't say for sure.
I don't think he's spot dodge canceling. I think he's waiting the whole thing out because it looks slow. Yeah, you see it. Either way, I mean, even if he can't spot dodge, he should definitely be able to up tilt. Spot dodge cancel up tilt because that's like frame 3. There it is, chat. There's your counterplay against my card.
There it is, chat. You can shield and spot dodge.
You shield. You just run up to Steve, shield, and if it hits your shield, you spot dodge it. Just spot dodge it on reaction because it has a significant amount of shield frame, like shield stun.
Shield stun, yeah.
And then if he jumps out, you don't care. Now, obviously, he can jump out preemptively and just do the minecart, you know.
Like
Yeah,
that.
he can just do that. But at least you at least you have an option now, you know, with the against these close-up minecarts, you can just shield. So now the mix-up is going to be, is not going to be, if you can do this, the mix-up is not going to be like, is he just gonna run through with the minecart or not? It's going to be like, does he want to grab me?
Well, yeah, but like that just goes into the layers of the game, and from there, and like.
Yeah. And obviously the risk reward is still annoying, but like now you don't have to like, oh, minecart, I have to run away. And obviously if you just see like a minecart with no fucking Steve coming along the way, then you just jump over it or you get the fuck out of the way. Like there's no other way to really say that, you know?
Yeah. But no, I think that's been a. I mean, we got today. I mean, it's been a great stream so far. We got a pretty good, you know. Shout out to Sabrick for kind of like defining like what kind of characters can deal with Steve, and this is not just from him like just pointing it out. This is something he like discussed with other people, and like Tony has told me certain things, and I think this also kind of lines up is the ability to kind of like you know, being able to juggle that character. Right, like having a strong option to juggle, where like preferably a disjoint, because disjoints are very good at going through anvil. I know like Pyramithra, for example, their up airs go through anvil, and it's a very good option. So like, hey, if they try to mash that option out, well, guess what? Hold this. Being able to get in front of them is also very important. If you have like, if being able to get in front of them, so you can kind of like hit the front of Steve, and then they go for like a minecart. That's an option. The ability to deal with blocks. Now, just because you can deal with blocks doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the matchup. Because I can deal with blocks with Lucas, but that's not a guarantee. But it helps. It goes a long way. And then with Eden, we kind of broke down some like, hey, my cart's not that good of an option, or you know, actually, hold on, let me take that back. Let me reel it back. We're back. My cart is a strong option, but there's ways to counterplay it and make it a little bit easier to deal with. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, the spot dodge can be kind of broken. But nah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. I gotta get myself some food, so I'm gonna hop off for now.
What you gonna
God,
get?
what am I gonna get, bro? I'm thinking about it, bro. I'm trying to waste some options. It's 10 p.m. Options are kind of scarce. poppin'? What you trying to do?
What's poppin'? Brand new
Pretty
whip
whip
just
just
hopped.
hopped in. Okay.
I got action. I got that bit, that.
But nah. Guys, I'm gonna cut it up. I'm gonna cut up this VOD and put in the things that we talked with Sabrick and the stuff we talked with Eden into a VOD to kind of like show for you guys. I'm trying to beat the Steve Menace. I'm tired. I'm tired of losing to Steve players, and I do not want to live in a world where my game is ran by Steve. So let's start figuring it out, one step at a time.
Hey, bro, what frame is your invincibility on your up smash?
Lucas' invincibility on up smash.
Frame 1? Alright,
No,
bro, you get. No, it is. It is. I just looked it up.
It's not frame 1, no.
It said no, invincibility frame 1 through 7.
Really? No shot. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, it is. Invincible 1 through 7.
Alright, I'm gonna need you to shield someone's minecart and then just up smash.
Let me see.
Huh?
Let.
What's he gonna do?
I don't know. I don't like that option. But if it works, it works. Let me first to just mash. Make sure that she's just mashing up smash.
Yeah, just up smash, not spot dodge. Just up smash, because you're gonna have invincibility. Interesting.
Okay, so because how it goes, it's frames 1 through 7. It's invincible, and then the head is intangible. Frame 15 through 29.
Okay. I just had him do spot dodge up tilt. Damn, that would have been hot if you could just up smash him.
Dude, if I could do just up smash, I'd be so happy. Alright, this is the last thing I'm allowing now. Up tilt. Let me just double check something. Because what's a strong anvil? 20%. Oh my god. Alright.
Yeah, he's not hitting you with the strong anvil.
Yeah, that's why I want to double check if I'm getting hit by the strong anvil.
No, you're getting hit by the landing hitbox,
By the landing
which is a
hitbox.
trait that you'll take any fucking day.
Any
Also,
day of the week.
Again, I don't think that this is spot dodge canceling, because there's no way that this Steve is getting out anvil that's like frame 20 plus before you can spot dodge cancel up tilt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like what? Like we already know that he takes 5 frames to get out, right? And then what's anvil? Ultimate frame data. Ultimate frame data. I really wish I had the training mode pack. I'd be so much better than everyone. Oh. It's literally, yeah, a down air is frame 20. So this is literally 25 frames. That shit is not spot dodge canceling, bro. He's letting the whole spot dodge happen.
Hey, bro, maybe he just likes the animation.
But basically, it's like you're still trading with Anvil, which is going to be his fastest option to hit you. Like, you're definitely punishing him. You know what that means?
What does that mean?
That means Snake can up tilt him.
Ooh, hold up, Snake. But alright, guys, I think that's going to be it for me. Thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Tomorrow, we will get back to streaming. We'll probably be streaming some Mori tomorrow, which I'm excited. We haven't played it since last week, and I want to beat that game. there may be a Smash stream sometime this week, but I am going to be focusing a lot on beating this matchup, learning this matchup, and fucking up Steve's. I'm tired of losing to them. So that's the plan, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time when I see you. Y'all have a good one.